This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock.
Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and it's not just any day in the arena today, it's Christmas Day. Merry Christmas to one and all. And I want to get back to playing with my presents, opening packages, and hanging with the fam. And there are a few ways to do that quicker, better, faster, and more efficiently than with Gruul Smash Your Face deck. Green and red are the colors of Christmas, and this particular version will not only smash face, but will also tack draw a card onto it with Edgewall Innkeeper. This is Gruul Adventures, where there's a 20 pack of adventure cards, Edgewall Innkeeper, and all these adventure creatures. Lovestruck Beast, Bone Crusher Giant, Ember's Shieldbreaker, because Witch's Oven. Getting an oven for Christmas is terrible. Let's just not do that. And Rimrock Knight. So that's our 20 adventure creatures. After that, we've got 4 Gruul Spellbreakers and 4 Questing Beasts because they're just too good. They're perfect targets for cards like Embercleave or Collision Colossus because of their other stat lines, Hexproof for the Spellbreaker, and Death Touch for the Questing Beast. On top of that, we've got 3 of those Embercleaves, 3 of those Collision Colossus, and 2 of those Domri's Ambush to remove the troublesome thing here and there. A pair of Fable Passages help to try to make the mana a little better, because without Once Upon a Time, the mana is a little rough. You kind of want one Forest super early to play Lovestruck Beast's Adventure Mode and Edgewall Innkeeper. You only want 1 Mountain, because you gotta cast your Questing Beast and do some things like that. But then, on turn Embercleave, you need 2 Mountains. And maybe even a 3rd if you want to Colossus something. So the mana's a bit funky. Fabled Passage, maybe you help out, maybe you don't. But quick deck intro and a Merry Christmas to all of you. Let's go smash things, make this video so that you can't say I missed a single day. That's the CGB way. Let's dive in, let the package opening nonsense begin. We've got Lovestruck Beast into Rimrock Nighty Nights and all kinds of things to dial up the pressure, make opponents sad as possible. Let's do it. No Edgewall Innkeeper, unfortunately. We'll have to make do. Pay 2 life. Make a little critter. Our opponent with a painful Blood Crypt and a Gutter Bones that's not going to block anytime soon. Against something like that, I could really use another 1/1 more than I could use a 3/1 that can't block. So what we're going to do is Boulder Rush with Rimrock Knight and Lovestruck Beast, another Heart's Desire. Bang. So, land off the top, Spellbreakers and Lovestruck Beasts can be very good. But if we get stuck on 2 lands, it can be very, very bad. Dreadhorde Butcher is an obnoxious card, but we can block it. The question is, do we want to? If we do, both of our creatures will die, probably, and our opponent will still have a Gutter Bones, having seized initiative. Also, if we do draw land for the Lovestruck Beast, it's a pretty rough go. This is a really tough one. And a lot of it has to do with whether or not we'll draw land, which we just don't know. I think that the right play here is to block the Gutter Bones, because if we don't draw land, we can't win anyway, and if we do draw land, our play of Lovestruck Beast is much better against Dreadhorde Butcher. And here we go. Now the Lovestruck Beast can block the Butcher, who can kill the 1/1, keeping our Lovestruck Beast from attacking, but we have a 5/5 on the field. And that's a lovely thing. Even if it can't attack, Spellbreaker can do the damage for it. Our opponent finds their 3rd land. Let's see what they do with it. If they remove the Lovestruck Beast, of course, that's a pretty sad situation. And they do have Murderous Rider. On the bright side, their life total is dwindling. And here comes the Butcher. Another Lovestruck Beast will be in the way next turn. I'm very curious if the opponent can remove that or if they need to run their Butcher into it. Land off the top? No, but another Heart's Desire makes this Lovestruck Beast very interesting. Let's go ahead and drop this one. and get in there and see if the opponent can break through the Lovestruck Beast for a second time. They could attack with the Butcher, and we'll get the choice of blocking or not blocking, which is kind of interesting, considering that we could just let the Butcher hit us, and then it wouldn't be interacting with us. Look at the opponent go! They clearly have all the right cards in all the right places right now. From the Murderous Rider to the Claim the Firstborn. And that very bold move does leave us in a difficult spot, but far from over. If we attack here, the opponent can definitely block with their Grim Initiate, but I guess that's just what we're signed up for at this point of the game. That sounded like a weird sound. Now that's a proper hit. Good and strong. Okay, let's make another 1/1. And we'll play out a Rimrock Knight. And try to keep setting up. At this point, I'm not sure I'm the beatdown anymore, though. And the opponent just getting busy. Wow. And an Embercleave! Yeah, they got me. That is definitely game. Our opponent drew Embercleave, we did not. We had mana problems, our opponent did not. That's all that mattered in that particular game. We could have played it a billion other ways, but if they're going to Embercleave us, it did not matter. Shield breaks, Bone Shakes. Still no Edgewall Innkeeper yet for our deck, which is of course a key card along with the Mighty Embercleave itself. I don't know if we're ever going to win a game where we don't resolve either one. And so far we're 0 for 1 on that camp, so we'll keep an eye on it as the game goes on. Ah, hello. But do we run you out just to die? I think we do. I think we make the opponent take turn 2 off to deal with this, or let us run away with some card advantage. Let's see what they do. Rude, but we got them to spend their turn on removal. If we had gone first, we'd already be up a card, and their Angrass Rampage wouldn't work well. Just giving you another example of how absolutely broken this game is when it comes to the play and the draw. Alright, let's drop a 3/1. And try to put some pressure on. Banehound. Okay, that is a 1/1 haste lifelink. The opponent can hit me. Just can't block. Didn't expect the Banehound. Never prepared for the Banehound. Or the light up the stage. A black-red Cavalcade deck, perhaps? I have seen it. Not gonna lie, I've seen it lurking around, which is still kind of weird to me. I don't think that there's anything for Ember Shieldbreaker to do, and with 2 Fervent Champions coming my way next turn, we have to figure out what the right play is. I think it's to make a Heart's Desire with the Lovestruck Beast, and then use Bone Crusher on one of the champions so that we don't get hit for too much damage. So, in that turn, with these Shieldbreakers just sitting around. I wouldn't blame anybody if on the draw they didn't cast the Innkeeper. If they just held in their hand on turn 1, as weird as it seems for a beatdown deck, to hopefully draw a card later in the game. Although the tempo we've gained from them having to spend turn 2 dealing with it is not trivial. It matters. Okay, so before these attack, let's crush some frickin' bones. Alright, we are not, in my opinion, a beatdown deck, so I'm going to trade with the Banehound. In this matchup, we're probably the bigger deck, as this deck appears to be very low to the ground. So we'll keep getting in there with Rimrock Knight to have a clock. We can play Lovestruck Beast here. We can also play Bone Crusher Giant, which can block and makes the opponent respect us if they have a removal spell. It will cost them 2 life to target the Bone Crusher Giant, so I think that makes the Bone Crusher Giant the play. And if our opponent has Embercleave here, we live through it and we shield break it. And it looks like perhaps there is a removal spell. They do know there's a Love-Struck Beast coming, but they use their Bedevil anyway. Cost them 2 life. Also, we'll know we're doing well if they ever hold back, because the Rimrock Knight, the Fervent Champion can stop Rimrock Knight. Okay. Looks like we're going to go another turn without a 4th land. We haven't had a 4th land yet in this event. It's been another challenge we face, but that's okay. Here's the Love-Struck Beast. And we'll see if the opponent has another Bedevil to fight their way through it. Murderous Rider. Yes, all the removal you can possibly find. 3rd Banehound of the game. Well, we're definitely wearing down on answers to our opponent's board. It's just, our draw just isn't lining up. Too many shields are getting broken. Not enough good things are happening. Our opponent finds a Murderous Rider. These keep coming, we'll make the trade, since we are trying to be more defensive and gain time. Now, is the opponent willing to... Ooh, well, we drew the Fabled Passage. That changes a lot. It might be Questing Beast time. The opponent doesn't have an answer for it here on the board. Let's go get 2nd red in case Embercleave does decide to turn up. Here's Questing Beast mode. And we'll see if the opponent wants to trade the Rimrock Knight with the Murderous Rider. They decide not to, and now they fall to 7. And Questing Beast is dominating the battlefield, with Collision Colossus being potentially lethal next turn, and everything attacks. What do you suppose that means? Well, I'll bite. I don't think they have it. And if they do, and it's a Massacre Girl, I couldn't play around it anyway. Ah, it was a Desperation Light up the stage that does hit a Bonecrusher Giant, just to keep things interesting. They can play the Bonecrusher or the Knight here, and they choose the Bonecrusher. So now what do we do? Targeting Bonecrusher with the Domri's Ambush is certainly not great, and we're going to need to remove this Knight of the Ebon Legion regardless. I think that this turn is all about Love-Struck Beast, but I will attack with the Knight. I'll gladly trade it for the Bonecrusher Giant. Alright, Heart's Desire. 5/5. Knight of the Ebon Legion is here. 2nd Knight of the Ebon Legion is here. It's a big problem. Okay, they can pump this into a 4/5, which doesn't survive the Beast. So I think we go with Ambush here, and then we go Collision Colossus over whatever blocks the Love-Struck Beast and try to kill our opponent. So let's start here. Takes out one of the Knights. The way that the opponent will survive is if they block the other with a Knight and pump it. So we have to force them into a situation where they don't have that option. Let's see how they block. They could try to save their Knight of the Ebon Legion. By the way, their pump was not right, because that's not a fight effect. It's a damage effect. I didn't even notice that they pumped this Knight in response. I thought they were just pumping the other one. Okay, we've got some blocking decisions. So the opponent's going to go up to 9. And then with this, it's 10 minus 4 is lethal. So, right? Right. Colossus, Love-Struck Beast. Heal to 0. And we traversed the black-red cavalcade insanity. Game 3. Who could it be to face me, the CGB? It is me going first with a Spellbreaker and a Beast, although we'll need to draw a 2-drop, but I'm keeping, because these are, like, these on curve are 2 of the best plays in the deck, And if you just draw like an Embercleave and either of these live, you're just... it's so good. So, we'll give it a shot. Oh no, we missed on turn 2. No, not like this. Our opponent using full control and all the stops. Ooh. Let's kill it. Bang. Collision. Shoot it down out of the sky. No 5-4 in my path, thank you. Now we can hasty it. And smash. That actually turned out to be a decent turn 2 play. I was not expecting that to happen. Our opponent on some kind of a mono blue, and a midnight clock is the turn 3 play. I feel bad. I think they're doing some janky stuff, and I think they're going to take a beating for it. Look, maybe you got some gems for Christmas, and you crafted some new nonsense deck, but my Christmas presents are under the tree, and I gotta get to unwrapping them, so I'm smorking. They have something, is it? I think it's an opt that they're going to play with a Gadwick, and they're trying to hang on to it. Because it was playable on an empty board. Oh, that's unexpected, but okay. Maybe they wanted to play it when it could draw a card. Seems optimistic, though. They need a big turn. Daddy G has to be the point of this deck. There aren't many other cards that are very useful, and there it is. Daddy G can tap down something with an Opt or a Spectral Sailor and give our opponent a chance. Low-struck Beast Mode. Yeah, let's... Our Spellbreaker has Hexproof, so let's pump that and kill this off. Right here, right now. They'll play an Opt or a Sailor and tap our Questing Beast. To the top. Must be good. Maybe another Gadwick, which is probably as good as it gets for our opponent at this moment. Down to 6. It's too bad I can't play both sides of the beast this turn, but I think that ambush was important. I think we had to get the Gadwick off the field and make the opponent use their mana to play another. Another Gargoyle. Our opponent has 4 cards in hand. If they play anything, they can't block with that Gargoyle. So we're going to try to get them to play something before combat by throwing the Lovestruck Beast out here. Don't do it. You die if you counter it. Okay. Alright, so what should we do about the Gargoyle? Should we just say go or trade with it? I think we should trade with it. If our opponent blocks the Sailor on the 1/1, we can't attack with the Beast next turn, so let's hang on to the 1/1. This game could still turn out close. They choose to block the Spellbreaker. It has Hexproof, that makes sense. There's a Brazen Borrower to slow down our Questing Beast. Midnight Clock ticks to 6. Could definitely still be close. Our opponent has value. We've flooded out. Second Clock. That doesn't imply they have a great hand. So we don't want our opponent to use a Brazen Borrower to take out the 1/1, so we want to make our plays before combat. Let's make the play that our opponent knows about with the Questing Beast, and then we'll use Shield Breaker on a Midnight Clock and then cast the other side. Okay, now you might say why not Shield Break the clock first, because our opponent could float a mana and we'd still be stuck trying to resolve the Questing Beast. And since they knew about the Beast in hand, I don't think there was any way we were ever going to sneak it through. So just attack with the 5/5 here. The opponent could still block the 1/1, preventing the Beast from attacking next turn. And since we're low on resources now and our opponent is not, we need some things to work out. Chase. Uh-oh. They mill 2 cards. They draw. It's an act of desperation, almost certainly. And a Merfolk Secret Keeper. Oh, for it. Stay alive. That is lethal. We'll haste the Spellbreaker. Attack the face. And the opponent's innovative blue list dies to the Smorky Gruul Adventures. Well, we still can't seem to get an Edgewall Innkeeper, but I will try this out. Show me the oven. Show me that witch's oven. We haven't broken a witch's oven with a shield breaker yet either. And our opponent gets to open on the best 1-drop in the game. I think we'll get to kill it with Bone Crusher Giant, but not if our opponent has double Fervent Champion. That is a way to grow your Knight of the Ebon Legion on turn 2. Okay, no perfect draw just yet. And a tap land. Good. Alright, we are not the beatdown. We are the control. Let's remove this before it can get bigger. Before the opponent has mana to pump into it and makes us play an awkward game of how will they use their mana this turn. Don't be a dinosaur. Don't do it. Crap. It's probably just game, to be honest. So we could play Spellbreaker and try to line it up and use a Bone Crusher Giant with it. We're blown out by any combat tricks along the way. We could try to do the same thing with Bone Crusher Giant itself. It's more vulnerable to something that removes at 3 power, but I don't know what that is. In that case, let's go ahead and play the Bone Crusher Giant. Could really use another red source next turn so that we're not stuck. Drill bit discarded? Interesting. If I'm the opponent, this is a great drill bit turn, so they might have another. Interesting. Very interesting. And no, I can't block that. It's too big. And when you have it on the play, I just can't do anything. No land from the opponent. Alright, I'll say go. Try to line up a surprise. Ooh, I wish they played the Spawn. That's something I can Colossus, or Collision. I'll try to line something up here, but I bet Embercleave is coming down. May as well try. Game over, man. So I could have Bone Crusher Gianted one of the creatures in response. I just don't know how that helps me. So let's see. We can try to stomp something away. Let's try to protect our life total. And am I dead? I'm so dead. Yeah. What can you do? That wasn't really a game to be played, but that's why I'm playing Embercleave. Hopefully I'll get to do that to somebody one time in the... So this game is a win-win. Either I get to open Christmas presents because I lose, or I keep playing and I make my money back in the event. This hand is so slow, but I'm way beyond mulliganing. I don't get good hands with this deck, I've decided. It's been a weird week. I can't seem to draw well with fires. I can't seem to draw well with Gruul. What can I do? What do you do here, CGB? What do you do well? As for control, that's where I draw well. That top deck Kaya's Wrath from last night's video, for example. But yeah, the games I played with Dance of the Manse not that long ago, the games with today's deck, and the games with Fires, it was just this comedy of errors where I never seemed to have the right cards. Let's get the Worthy Knight off the field. Once again, it looks like we're going to be the control deck facing another Knight aggro deck. This one with Tajik on turn 3. Ow. Ambush is good. How do I play it? Do I run this out? The first strike will kill it. So let's play something a little bit bigger. If the opponent attacks anyway... Really? We're double shocking now? Okay, quite the Boros list you got here. Alright, our opponent actually only has one card left in their hand. I think the play here is weird. Acceptably weird, but I think we want to make a 1/1 with the Lovestruck Beast and use Ambush to kill the Tajik. Because Tajik prevents all non-combat damage, including damage from Adamri's ambush to other creatures. So taking on the Fervent Champion isn't an option, in case anybody was thinking about that. My god. I think we are going to lose. We can remove this, but we're taking so much damage. It just looks like it's going to be another game where all that mattered was that the opponent went first and our mana was awkward. Okay, we're not quite dead. Questing Beast is a good blocker for the champion. We'd take 2 more for the Legionnaire, but we could kill it the next turn. The other option is to kill this now and make a Rimrock Knight and chump block the champion. That line prevents us from taking any damage this turn cycle. And since we're getting really low on life, that's the conservative play, but I think in a long game we will win. Therefore, I think it's the right play. So we'll play you as a 3/1. We'll use Collision on the Sky Knight Legionnaire, but we can wait. We don't have to do it now. And we'll chump block the champion, as bad as that sounds and feels. Alright, we might see a shock here. Oh, and it's on the knight, so I'm enjoying this. It means we still get to chump. That's a weird shock, considering that the opponent's at 20. I don't know what they have to be afraid of a Rimrock Knight from. Let's do this before combat. That will mean if the opponent has an Embercleave, they can't use it. 6 damage to target creature with flying. Chumps. And did our opponent draw a good follow-up? No? Okay. Well, we can Questing Beast and start the beats. We can also play Edgewall and Lovestruck and draw more cards. I think Lovestruck puts the most toughness on the field. It's pretty expendable. Let's go for cards. Also, if the opponent has a shock, their last one, they'll use it on the Innkeeper to get it out of their hand so that they can't do some combination of Champion and shock on Questing Beast in the future. Another Innkeeper. Is the adventure package finally going to do something? Justice Strike. Wow. Just wow. This deck is absolutely bizarre to me. Alright, again, let's try not to take any more damage. If we stay alive, I think we can win. Our opponent needs to give us a break, though. They're drawing way too well. Alright, that's a pretty good draw. Let's play the Innkeeper and the Lovestruck Beast, not making a 1/1. I want the card, and I want the 5/5, because the Bonecrusher Giant, if it blocks the champion, Castle Embreth can pump the champion and kill the Bonecrusher Giant. And now the opponent says go. Maybe there's a chance. I think it's time to turn up the heat. Our opponent can use the castle to make a double block on the beast, but I would welcome it. That would be just fine. And fifth land, go. So now we're looking at Innkeeper, Bonecrusher twice. Since we do have pump spells in the deck, I can do this first before combat. I may as well draw first and see what we get. I could play the Shieldbreaker instead to have more options with my mana. I don't think that's quite worth it, not being sure what we'll draw and if we'll even have the mana to cast something that we draw. Okay, Like, what we drew into is going to work out just fine. We're going to make a Lovestruck Beast thingy and play a tapped land. So we can attack first before we give our opponent that information. And I think attacking with both there is right. I'm at the point where I'll definitely chump block whatever the opponent attacks with. And say go. Opponent almost certainly digging for Embercleave. Not much else that can matter. By the way, does this pet do anything? All I've ever seen it do is sit over here and sleep. No animation, no nothing. Another adventure hand without an innkeeper. What is my life coming to? But I can't mulligan it, it's too good. If we do draw an innkeeper anyway along the curve, we probably get a ton of value. So you don't have to have innkeeper in your opener for it to be busto, although that's very nice when you're on the draw. Let's make a Heart's Desire. Next turn looks gorgeous with Rimrock Knight and make another Heart's Desire, and then Lovestruck Beast, Lovestruck Beast. Uh-oh. We're in a Heart's Desire face-off. Let's see what the opponent does when we attack. If they block, of course, we don't use the Rimrock Knight. And it will also tell us something. They're on the draw, so often trading is better for them because they're already ahead on cards by being on the draw. But they choose not to, which tells us they may not have another 1/1 for the beast. And since they did not, we'll use our Rimrock Knight to Boulder Rush them for some bonus damage. This hand is a mountain away from being a beautiful Embercleave on curve. Cross your fingers. Green-white. Pelt Collector. Okay. And there's still something to be done. Perhaps a Fairy Guide Mother. I'm sensing a green-white adventure list, but the Pelt Collector is a bit unexpected. Stone Coil. It's okay. Shield Breaker can kill it. That's pretty nice. But it leaves me without a great play for the rest of the turn because it's my only red mana. I don't think the opponent will want to trade, and I think a Lovestruck Beast dwarfs their board. So the other option is I could kill this Pelt Collector before it gets bigger. I feel like the opponent is getting ready for a Venerated Loxodon, don't you? Let's see if they would choose to make some blocks. Ooh. Blocks are encouraging. If they are willing to block, they don't have the Loxodon. Never mind, they are just messing with me. So what should we do? Pelt Collector is probably the strongest thing that we could take out with the Bone Crusher Giant if we choose to do that. We could just play a 5/5, which we'd have a really nice attack next turn and do a lot of damage with an Embercleave. I think I'll play Ambitious. But we're bottlenecked on red mana. So that Lovestruck Beast play might come back to haunt us if we don't draw another red source, and we get stuck on only using 1 red mana per turn for the rest of the game. Here's the opponent's Lovestruck Beast. Grow the Pelt Collector. And another green is awkward. Now I feel like I should take out the Pelt Collector before it gets any bigger. I can attack with this Lovestruck Beast. The opponent might trade with theirs, or they might not. Let's see what they do. And the idea is to trade. Let's stomp on their Pelt Collector so it doesn't grow. And I don't think our opponent has a Loxodon, or I believe they would have played it. It's possible they thought that would be taking too much damage, but this opens up Lovestruck Beast and Shield Breaker next turn if we don't draw another red source. Some kind of proliferate angle to the deck when you see Stonecoil Serpent, so I'm guessing there's a Huatley's Raptor. We're going to want to keep anything that can gain counters to a minimum for a while. If that's their only play, that's good. Let's use the Shield Breaker for a battle display on the Stonecoil Serpent. We could send both 1/1s, but then our Lovestruck Beast is weak, so we'll send a 1/1. If the opponent's trading, that means they're not putting counters on their creatures, and that's what we're looking for. And here's the Beast. But at this point we're in trouble. We only have one red source and all red cards. So we're going to be stuck playing one spell a turn until we draw another red source. And that means we could fall behind if the opponent gets their draw going. Clearly from their plays here, they have a pretty awkward draw. There's a Stonecoil. None of this challenges the Beast. That's a good draw to take out a flyer. The Bone Crusher can take out the Stonecoil. Let's see what the opponent does when we attack. And then I think we want to save the Colossus if we can to be the trampling finish to the game. Here, I think, well, if we say go, we're giving away what our hand does. But the thing is, I only need to get a little more damage in with Colossus on Lovestruck Beast next turn to make a Bone Crusher Giant lethal. So I'm holding back my Bone Crusher, and I'm just adding to the board instead. Holding back this Stomp, I should say. It might go face to finish the game. We've got the opponent on the back foot. If we keep turning things sideways and get to use our Colossus to trample them, we're in good shape. Okay, they're having a brain aneurysm over attacking with these fairies. And then they said go. So with open mana, what does that do in green-white? Giant killer. I think it's a giant killer. So let's turn these sideways and see what happens. The opponent's trying to get us to act and then blow us out. There's the giant killer, so that can go. Here's some blocks. Just one block. This means that with the Colossus, we can get our opponent down to set 3, which means this isn't lethal. So rather than do any pumpy stuff, I'm just going to do this. And then our play for the rest of the turn is going to be to send the Innkeeper and draw a card. And we'll send the Rimrock Knight, since a 3/1 is better than a 2/1 here. Another Innkeeper. I don't think the opponent can sweep the board, so I'm going to send this other Innkeeper now. Our opponent finds the Edgewall Innkeeper. Let the innkeeping commence. Watley's Raptor, indeed. This will make the Stonecoil Serpent a little bigger. And now it's my turn. We still, unfortunately, only have one red source. There are ways this can end with a lethal attack, but with two... let's see. The opponent's going to scoop it up, and I think that that makes sense because they're definitely overmatched in cards. What I would do with this turn is definitely up for debate. I would probably attack with the Giant and the Rimrock Knight and see how the opponent blocks, but I would take just about any trades. Then I'd probably cast the Shield Breaker just to draw more cards and keep trying to find another red source to open up more options to finish and close out the game. The opponent's almost certainly in a spot where they have to trade off every single turn for the rest of the game, and eventually a Colossus over the top or an Embercleave will finish them. Well, we can make a 1/1, then we have a collision, then we have a beast, and our mana isn't the worst it could possibly be, so I'll hang on to it. We do need to draw another land to play our beast and our other beast on curve, but either that will happen or we'll draw other useful cards. And we drew the land. So here comes the Heart's Desire. And our opponent, turn 1, opt. Look at these sleeves. What have we here? Ugin? Doing a full-on, what is that, the lotus pose? I think my wife does this for yoga sometimes. Making a snow angel? What am I looking at? Anyway, I've thought about doing a show where I review sleeves. Would anybody watch that? I think we'll just hit our opponent really hard here. They appear to be blue-white control, although Collision can take out a Brazen Borrower. Maybe this is too aggressive, but I'm into it. If the opponent has exactly Brazen Borrower here, that's very depressing. Dovin's Veto is fine. We had to get that out anyway to ever resolve an Embercleave, so I'm happy with that. Brazen Borrower was the punish, the hard punish. Alright, let's attack first and then go for the beast. See if the opponent came with an absorb as well. Essence capture. So far, 2 for 2 on counter spells on turns 2 and 3. We're going to test them on turn 4 as well, because that's what our deck is here to do. We are Gruul. We do not stop until the enemy is dead. Opponent lets the animation clear and then clicks continue. You've got to be able to see the pain. I'm guessing what we'll see here is Fabled Passage into Chemister's Insight. Oh. What? What? They must have Time Wipe. They're just doing this for 3 damage. I was like, wow, I would have bounced the Questing Beast in a heartbeat to buy more time, and then do the same thing next turn, because time is more valuable. But this opponent's going to play it aggressive, and it's actually going to pay off if we don't have more creatures. And it turns out that's what's up. We don't have more creatures. So they're going to be rewarded. I don't know if they deserve it. So I like just casting Lovestruck Beast here instead of trying to make the 1/1 because I need to draw the card. It's a very important card draw. We need to stay in this game somehow. Let's see, what could 3 mana open do for me? Nothing. Yeah. Another tapped land, say go. See if the opponent wishes to bounce the Lovestruck Beast with their Brazen Borrower. No, they wish to scry. I'd scry too. Bouncing the Lovestruck Beast here isn't great. The Innkeeper means that you get to draw another card. 2 to the top, we're dead. If a blue-white player scries to the top and wins, and loses, they should not be a blue-white player. So they must have put an Absorb into their hand here. And they've left me in a position where I do have to try to cast the Innkeeper. So with no real choice, wow. I am stunned. I guess they can bounce it? Let's see. If they bounce the Beast, I just replay it. If they bounce the Innkeeper, I just replay it. So, they kept on top, but they've already seen both cards because of Teferi. If they have a Wrath, I can't really beat it. We have to resolve this while we think we can. But I mean, this game appears to be over to me. And trust me, I have Christmas presents to unwrap, so as soon as I'm confident I'm done here, I'm out. Really? Okay. Frickin' Teferi. Doesn't let me Embercleave. Suit up that beast. Frickin' Teferi. I forgot about it. I'm not gonna lie. I forgot all about Teferi there. Instant speed planar cleansing. Well, if I had gone for the Embercleave, I never would have got my damage in, so we'll just call that a brilliant play. Actually, I'm not going to play it out. Our opponent has Castle. I could still potentially top deck and win, but I've got things to do, and I'm sure so do you. But thank you very much for making time for me on your Christmas day, or even after, if that's when you're watching. It means a lot to me. It's been a wonderful season, and I hope you all have a very, very Merry Christmas. Today's thank you goes out to every single person who's taken the time to view my content this year and shared it, liked it, left comments even if they're mean. I can't believe I'm a content creator for the game I've loved for 25 plus years. So, I couldn't ask for more. Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas. Goodbye.